Hi, what a privilege to once again um, welcome you to our Healing Power God's Way presentation at this session. We're going to talk about natural remedies applied, and this is the second part of natural remedies applied. Now, our text for this series, Jeremiah 30, verse 17, and it says, "For I will give health back to you, and will heal you of your wounds, saith Jehovah." I must tell you, this verse is real in my life because He's done it for me, and He can do it for you. I want you to listen carefully as we share. You know, it's amazing how God has made, He's given us security to not risk health and lifestyle diseases by giving us specific health laws. And we have formed an acronym that says New Start: nutrition, exercise, water, sunlight, temperance, air, rest, trust in God. And these things would prevent us from getting diseased. But we also see that God is using the same things as true remedies. So if we would apply the New Start principle in recovery of disease, we see the same wonderful, wonderful results. Now, at this session, I would like to speak to you about some disease prevention tips. And we could, long before we get diseased, really know that we are getting diseased if we knew the signs. Now, there's another verse that's really close to my heart. It's found in 3 John 2, where the Lord says, "Beloved, I wish above all things that you may prosper and be in health." Now, if you read this in different translations, you would find, the bigger context of this. The fact is, I would love you to prosper from a health point of view, physically, as you are prospering from a spiritual point of view, is really the crux of this verse. Now, just look at this statement. And then you would start making up your own mind as we go on. The misuse of our physical powers shortens the period of time in which our lives can be used for the glory of God. And it unfits us to accomplish the work God has given us to do. So by allowing ourselves to form wrong habits, by keeping late hours, by gratifying appetite at the expense of health, we lay the foundations for feebleness. So we actually become weak, and we lay the foundations for weakness. By neglecting physical exercise, so it means we need to exercise. New Start, the E, exercise, we have to do it. By overworking the mind or body, you remember the R, we have to rest. By doing this, we unbalance the nervous system. Now, we find this in a little book called Reflecting Christ, and this is on page 140. In the book Counsels on Diet and Foods, page 123, this is a very, very true statement. Nature bears abuse as long as she can without resisting, but then she arouses, and she makes a mighty effort to rid herself of all the encumbrances and evil treatment she has suffered. And then comes the headaches, and the chills, and the fevers, and the nervousness, the paralysis. This is all symptoms, and the statement goes on, and other evils too numerous to mention. So what we find is our bodies just tries to cope and tries to cope and tries to cope with the way we live, the toxins that build up, and then at some time, here comes the headaches. Does that sound familiar? Here comes the chills, and here comes the fevers, and here comes the nervousness and the paralysis, and then a lot of other things that we don't even know all about. And these things happen. Now, if you look at the picture on the screen, you would see my dream car. Yes, I always had a picture here of my Isuzu Bucky. And then one day I said to myself, man, if I really want to, make the point to my audiences, I will have to get a bigger value car or something, because, we cannot compare, a body of a person with a Isuzu. We could maybe compare it with a Ferrari, but even that really God has made us so perfect. Ferrari is made by man, not by God. But if you would drive a Ferrari and you could see on this Ferrari's odometer, the speedometer, there's only 11 kilometers on the clock. So it's a brand new car. You would pull it out of your driveway and you would pull off in the road, just taking it for that Sunday afternoon cruise. And this light goes on and, it flicks. It says, check the engine. Are you going to just say, well, beautiful light, let's see what happens? No, you're definitely not going to do that, because this is a Ferrari. You're not going to just have this light shining there and, it says check the engine and go on driving. You might damage the engine and you would never be able to fix it because of the expense. Maybe you're driving and you see this little light goes on. Now, it is a little oil can. And what does it mean even in your car? If that light goes on, it says that you are low in oil. And if you would not stop immediately and check the oil, and if the oil is low, don't touch it, don't start it, get oil, fill it up to its point where it should be. If you don't do that, that engine will surely seize up. So that Ferrari would go nowhere. If you have this little light go on, and you'll see that is a brake light. Now, it could mean one of three things. And in the Ferrari, it's the same. In my Bucky, it's the same thing. It could be the handbrake that's still on. Now, you don't want to drive with a Ferrari with a handbrake half on, because you're going to burn your brakes. So if that light goes on, you will immediately check. You're not going to say, hi, nice light. You're going to check. You're going to see. You need to even stop and see, what's happening here. Why is this light on? Okay, it's not my handbrake. Is it the brake fluid that's low? Maybe there's something that's leaked. Even on a 11 kilometers brand new car, there could be something going wrong. We don't expect this from a Ferrari, but this could happen. And so the fluid might be low. And I need to just add fluid and the light will go off. But if I don't, I might cause a serious accident and actually kill myself, because there won't be brakes if I need to brake. It could also mean that my brake pads are too low. Now, we would really not expect that of a Ferrari at 11 kilometers on the clock. But if that light goes on, your body system has lights like that. If that light goes on, you're not going to say, well, that is just me, my mother struggled with the same thing. My dad struggled with the same thing. No, it's a red light. It's for you. It's saying, stop, change, make a difference. You don't have to just now, stop. If that light goes on, it says that there's an electricity problem. So your charger, your alternator is not charging the battery, or your battery is dead, or there's a short somewhere. You're not going to just keep on driving your Ferrari if that light goes on. No, you're going to stop. You're going to look at what is the problem. You're going to phone the dealers and say, listen, man, this car is now here with this light on. What should I do? And then when this light goes on, that is now to say that you've got one of your tires that's deflated. And that means in a Ferrari, that is a high-speed vehicle, that is trouble. That's looking for trouble. Now, the great thing with the Ferrari, you could push a button and it would tell you which one of the tires are deflated. So when that light goes on, you would touch the button. It will tell you, yes, it's the left front one. And you would know, I need to pull into a garage very, very quickly. And you can actually see what the value of the air pressure is in that specific tire. And if you see it goes out too low, you know, okay, this is a puncture. I have to stop. This is the advantage with a Ferrari. My car, if I see there's a flat tire, I need to stop. Otherwise, there's a point where I would go nowhere. There won't be any tire left. So our body system has these little gauges, has these little lights built in, and it's there to show us, hey, you need to stop. There's a problem. Don't just go on. If you see the signs that we're going to share in this session, don't just say, okay, it must be like that. You know, it's always been like that. there's a problem. I need to stop and rectify the problem. Now, there's certain signs which indicate dis-ease. And this is really what disease stands for. It's a lack of ease in the body. So when this sign is there, it indicates, hey, there's a problem. One of the first signs that we have to look at is a pulse rate. So we need to be able to take our pulse rate. And if you put your fingers, and remember, you can't use your thumb, but use your other fingers, and it's really working better if you've got more than one finger on the pulse. And if you feel it, there you start feeling your pulse, and then you can count on a minute. You see the clock go around for a minute, and you're going to count the counts, the times that you feel your pulse in that 1 minute, and it will indicate what your pulse rate is. We also need to talk about body odor, how this could be a sign that your body is at ease or dis-ease. The color of your urine. So when you go to the toilet and urinate, you need to look at what comes out. And I'm sorry, I need to ask your permission, and I know that I can't, see your indication, but I want to warn you, I'm going to have to talk about these things vividly, and please don't be upset by it. But we're going to look at our jobs and see, what has happened there, and that would help us to know that we are on the right track, or there is dis-ease, a lack of ease in the body. Another one is mucus. We're going to look at, should we have mucus? What should the mucus look like? Is it normal? And that could be an indicator of your condition of your system. Regularity is another very important one. Regularity is going to that small little place, and it is a very important thing that we need to watch. A furry tongue. We're going to look at your tongue, your condition of your tongue, really indicating if your body is good condition or not. And so is sleep or not sleep. So this could be some of those signs that we are looking at. You could well be heading for some cell disease, and you don't even know it. If you don't know these things, this is the time to really listen carefully. Go and change what you need to change, and you'll see a big difference. You'll know long before disease comes, disease is going to come. Now, the pulse rate. Let's look at the pulse rate. Number one, what is a pulse rate? A pulse rate is your heart beating. So that the moment your heart beats, it pushes, it squirts the blood through your arteries. And what I'm feeling here is my artery expanding as this volume of blood comes through. And I can actually, if I use a stethoscope, I would actually hear a thump going. Doof, doof. That's your heart pumping. And I'll feel the pressure there, and then it releases. And then there's another pulse, and that is where the heart pumped again. Now, the average pulse rate is about 72 beats per minute. That's now our medical platform for pulse rate. As your health would go up, your pulse rate would gradually come down. And this is important to know, that when I'm fit, my pulse rate could be like 65. It could be like 60, 65. Mine is normally about 65 when I'm fit, and I'm cycling every day, I'm jogging a little bit every day. Then it would be about 65, 67. That's my average pulse rate. Yours could be different, but it would be in that range, and it would preferably be lower than 72. Now, as we explained to you, the reason why we have a pulse rate, it's your heart beating, squirting the blood there, and then it will rest, and then it will push again, and it will rest. Now, your resting pulse rate. Now, when I talk about a resting pulse rate, it means I have to take my pulse rate at a time when I'm rested. So like I've just slept, I wake up, I will take my pulse, and then I could keep track of that. I could monitor that. Now, I've got a little practice of doing this on Monday morning. So Monday morning, I would take my pulse rate the moment I get up, before I think about my wife, because then my heart would just race. So before I do that, I will take my pulse rate, and I would put it in my little book, and I could see over years what my pulse rate has been, and it gives me a good indication that my health is okay or my health is not okay. If it's now going out of range, like 8 beats higher, then I know, hey, there's a problem. There's something wrong in my system. I'm not just going to say, oh, I wonder why it's higher. No, I must go and find out what is the problem. When we talk about body odor, it's a very, very clear signal of what the condition of our body is. You see, body odors are normally residues in my body that shows that there is toxicity. So there's toxins in my system that's building up, and that could really, really compromise my health long run. So if I have high levels of health, you would find you would have little use of underarm deodorants. As your health would go up, the deodorants would be less needed. There's some things that would naturally cause some body odor, and we need to keep this in mind. If you have a diet with mainly junk foods, that's empty kilojoules, high sodium, high fat, high sugar, you would have body odors. That is something that would cause it. Constipation, with our bowels working well, it is taking the toxins out. It should be out. It should be discarded. But if it's kept back because of constipation, it means that you're going to have a build up of toxins. It means that you could have body odors. A digestive system that's not rested. So if you would eat in between meals at regular times and on a regular basis, it means that your system is overworked. It's going to do its work half, and it means that you're going to build up toxins, and that's going to cause the body odor. Underarm odor is also caused by decomposing cells that needs to be removed by washing. So we need to wash on a daily basis. It's something that we can't just leave for once a week or whatever. There is going to be odors when you do that. So, we're going to wash regularly, and we will find that we won't have all of these odors. Another sign that we said that could indicate dis-ease, well, long before there is disease, is the color of our urine. Now, a healthy color of urine is a pale straw color. So it's like a neutral color. It's like, just a transparent color to a pale straw. Straw, it's like a very, very light color. The moment it goes darker, it means that your urine is concentrated. It means that there is impurities in your system. It also means that your urine could be strongly acid. And those three things are really very, very good indicators that your system is not very happy. And it will lead to disease if you don't look after this. Now, an acid system is caused by substance. So if you would use substance, toxins give you an acid system. Tea does it. Yep, yes, I'm sorry to say this. Coffee does it. It actually causes an highly acid system. And alcohol does the same thing. Smoking does it. Drugs really makes my system acid. But it's not only substances. It could be even things like emotions. My emotion, if I've got the emotion of anger, my system would really get acid. There's many tests where a person that gets angry often, they've really checked that the tummy lining, it really gets inflamed because of all the acid that's secreted because of this emotion. Stress does the same thing. Worries about money, the economy, worry about, my kids, my wife, worry about my job that's not secure, worry about, what the leaders in our country doing, and and my church leaders, that could leave us with an acid system. However, we need to know that the main cause is insufficient intake of water. We are not drinking enough water. We know that years back they said 6 to 8 glasses per day. We know today, especially, it depends on where you stay, but where I'm staying in South Africa, we need like 8 to 10 glasses minimum. And that would be enough for at least the winter. I might need even a little bit more when it is hotter. So very important to use enough water in your daily life. Another sign that we have spoken about in our summary or in our intro is mucus. Now, many people, they feel it's totally normal, especially when it's a cold morning, to wake up with this lump in the throat, and you cannot properly breathe until you have got rid of this lump and then, spit it out, and yeah, and it's like normal. It's what happens every day. Mucus is normally there because the normal avenues of elimination are not coping. So you've got ways of eliminating all these toxins, and if those are not working properly, then your body starts using the mucous membrane of the nose and of the throat and the bronchial tubes, and in the case of a lady, even the vagina. So there will be discharges in these areas, and it is a sign that the other body parts getting rid of toxins is not really coping. So mucus is an emergency vehicle for the removal of impurities. When that lump is there, we must know, hey, there's a problem. Our system's saying, I'm not coping, there's too much toxins, I need to do something about this. Now, some things that we eat and some things we do really could cause a rise of mucus, and I just need to make you aware of that. Excessive milk would do that. Yeah, cream would do that. Cheese, big culprit. I mean, I've had many people just go off cheese and the basic dairy products, and all of a sudden the mucus is gone. All of a sudden, yeah, even the sinusitis has just disappeared. The other one is excessive refined salts. It really causes mucus. So if you would go for the unrefined salts, rather go for the Himalayan rock salt, the coarse sea salts, you would find not the same buildup of mucus. But we have to use this, very temperately. And then bowels not functioning properly would give a rise in mucus. Remember, that is a way of eliminating toxins and the things that the waste of our body. If there's a buildup of that, there's going to be a buildup of toxins. The body tries to get rid of toxins, and now it uses the mucous membranes to do that. If you would eat whole foods, we mean by this not refined foods, but whole foods, and you would chew your food properly, and you would eat your food when it's ripe, it will not give rise to mucus and gas. And this is some of the problems that people struggle with. They say, no, man, I can't eat this stuff. This vegetarian stuff is really not for me because, it's like explosive. No, I can't. Most of the time, we're just not chewing our food well. Or we're eating some things with our meal that is not ripe. It is still green. So that will cause that. We need to just prepare our food well, cook it well, and those things that have to be cooked, like legumes, and then we eat things if they're ripe, and it will not give rise to mucus and gas if I've chewed as well. I want to make a statement. And I want to say, a body experiencing a high level of wellness does not secrete mucus. It's really a blunt statement. And I've seen this time after time. People that have a buildup of this sort of condition, it is because their system is too toxic, and that means their system is at not ease, but there's a lack of ease. Let's talk about regularity. Now, this is the one that we don't like to speak about. It is going to that small little place where I always go alone, and I always administratively end with paperwork, and you know what I'm talking about. Now, I need to ask you to just forgive me for speaking about this bluntly and openly, but I know, and many have confirmed that we save lives by sharing this information. And so please be patient with me as I share it with you. Each one of our meals, if I've eaten a meal, should actually pass out of the system within 24 to 36 hours. And you can actually test this by the beetroot test. So you could have some beetroot in your meal, and then you can count the hours from the time you've eaten until you have to go to that small little place, And when you pass, you'll see that the bowl is red. There's a redness in there. That means by now the beetroot has been digested. It's worked through the system and it's exposing of the waste. Now, if this is taking more than the 24 to 36 hours, then I know red light going on, this is taking too long. It should take a shorter time for this to happen. When you're on a 3 meals a day, it means that you would have at least 2 stools per day. I found many people that go on a 2 meal a day program, they would have 2 stools a day, and that's really normal. It's hair raising when I find some people coming to our lifestyle center, and when we check this and monitor this, they would say, well, it's okay because my medical practitioner said it's okay if I go once a week. This is really not good news. If I have 3 meals a day, I need to at least go 2 times a day. Now, this is the part that might sound gory, and it's really important that I need to share this with you. How should your stool look like? And we need to know this. Now, on the picture on your screen, you would see, this snake in the bowl of the toilet. And, this is dangerous. I don't know if you would go and sit on that toilet with that snake hanging out there. Well, guys, that's how dangerous, this whole issue of constipation is. It's really like a snake just waiting to bite you. It's really very, very dangerous. Now, our stool should be soft. It should be light. It should be airy. It should be light brown in color. If it's like dark and it's like a submarine, just like go down to the bottom, and sink down there like a submarine, we need to know that is a problem. That is a red light going on. They should float on the water, and it's really a problem sometimes because these mechanisms really don't really flush too well when they are like they're floating. They are designed for the submarine. So yeah, we need to keep this in mind. They need to be just floating. They should be light. They should be airy. And as you see that snake in that bowl now, if you would not take cognizance of this, it would leave you with serious challenges. Now, your stool should pass out under very little pressure. If you're sitting there with eyes bulging out and your face getting red and you're pushing, people, that is dangerous. That is red lights going on. That is a sign. That's a gauge saying, problem, stop, sort this out. You're going to seize up this engine. And even worse, engine we can replace. You cannot replace yourself, people. We need to look at this carefully. Now, what causes constipation? What causes me to sit there and just push and nothing happens? Refined, rich, greasy food really would lead to constipation. It's a main cause of it. Too great a variety at one meal. We should have, 4 things on our plate, 4 different dishes on one plate, and maybe maximum 5, but not more than that. But sometimes we've got a lot of them. Now we're saying have a lot of different variety, but not at one meal. I'm going to have 4 max, maybe 5 on my meal, on my plate for one meal, and that would be it. That would be the best advice we could give you. Then too little water would cause constipation. We also find that too little exercise, causes constipation. And you find this, older people, they have to have laxatives every day because the movement is not where they want. Well, the fact is they're drinking too little water because they don't want to walk to the toilet. And they're not doing exercise because, they've got the arthritis pain. And yes, they are eating the Western lifestyle. And so you find that, this is really a big problem. There's also insufficient intake of fruits and vegetables. We eat mainly of animal products today, where in the past we had fruits, we had vegetables, and we have to change our mindset around this so that these things will just work better. Now, when we look at the colon, and you see this picture on the screen right now, you will see there's little pockets there. They are called diverticuli. And what happens many times is because of our lifestyles, these little pockets get packed up with feces, and it gets hard, and because of constipation, they don't move out. And many times we find for years they packed in there. And then when you sit there on the little place on the throne and you push, then it comes out like little pieces, like dong, 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 like submarine, like a machine gun, chong, 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 go out like that. This is really not what we want. What it means is there's one little channel there in the middle, and we are pushing with big pressure, we're pushing it out at that hole. It should be moving out nicely thick out of your colon. God has designed it to be just, flushing it out nice and quickly. So we need to look at ways to get this working properly, and we gave you some ideas of how to do this. And if you need more information, please contact us at the contact details at the end of this DVD, and you'll know what to do if you will ask. Now, another thing we need to look at is a furry tongue. A furry tongue is a indicator of my digestive system. And now, you could stick out your tongue. I'm not going to see it because I'm not there in your presence right now. But, if you go to a mirror and you stick out your tongue and you look at the back there, and there's like white little hair sitting at the back there, that's an indicator that your system is not very happy. You see, the back of your tongue should be pink. It should be clean. It means then you are healthy. Your digestive system is healthy. If it's furry, it means your digestive system is clogged. It needs cleaning. It's a very important indicator. I cannot just look at it and say, nice hair, or I must get me one of those brushes so that I can brush my tongue. Guys, it's not too little tongue brushing that causes those white little furry hair. It is really a health system, my digestive system that's not happy. Now, you need to chew your food well. This is very important. Chew your food well because, especially with starches, it digests in the mouth. All the digestive enzymes is mixed well with it here, and then the process of digestion really starts taking place here. Then it goes to the tummy, and then it goes to the small intestine and to the colon, and then it works out. Guys, I want you to know that we need to chew our food well. Let's talk about sleep. And how could this be an indicator that I am not doing well? Sleep is very, very important. And we know that this statement is very true. A healthy body naturally sleeps well. If you don't sleep well, it's saying to you there's a problem. Don't just say, well, it's because I've got too little sleeping tablets. And then we go for something strong or something more. No, that's not the answer. Our body should naturally sleep well. It doesn't matter what age you are in, age bracket you are in. You need to sleep well because that's what a healthy body would dictate. Now, there's some things that would disturb your sleeping patterns. One of them is a bloodstream that is acid because of all the refined foods that we eat and too little water in our diet. So, yeah, acid system is number one. Another one is overeating. We just eat too much. We've got less activity, more food. Really, this is a big problem. Another one is heavy meals late at night. So we need to really plan this well, that we eat at least 4 hours before we go to bed. It's important to know that too much sugar in any form would cause me to have sleeping disturbances. So yeah, let's cut down on the refined sugars. And then we also need to know that constipation is a contributor to sleeping disorders. You are not going to sleep well and be restful if you have all this toxins and waste in your colon. When we talk about sleep, it's also important to remember that there is certain circadian rhythms that God has created us with. You know, we've got set times for sleeping and set times for waking. I don't know if you've ever noticed, we've had neighbors that had a cock, and this cock would crow 4 o'clock in the morning. Now, It annoyed many of the neighbors, other neighbors, but I really liked it because that was the time that I got up. Now, it didn't bother me. I didn't get up because I heard the, the, the cock crowing. It's because that's the time that I best, do my best work. And so I found something interesting. If you would go to bed at a certain time every night, after 6 or 7 nights, you would find that by that time, you've not gone to bed now this specific night, you will actually feel sleepy. Your body is now in the rhythm where it says, now it's time to go and sleep. And you would find yourself getting up like 4 o'clock in the morning. And like a clockwork, tomorrow morning you'll get up at 4 o'clock. You would actually beat your alarm. You would set your alarm for 4 o'clock. Before 4, you'll be awake. You will quiet the clock before it will wake the other people in your home. This is the circadian rhythm we're talking about. Set times for sleeping, set times for waking up, and God has created us with that. We actually get that built in our system. There needs to be set times for meals. So I need to have my meal at a specific time for breakfast and a specific time for lunch. And your body would know, okay, now it's going to be refueled. And now it can go through the day. Okay, I know, now it's going to be refueled. And it actually does quite a few very important little actions, knowing what time what is going to come. If you're going to eat at different times all the time, your circadian rhythm is going to be disrupted, and you would find problems like weight problems. You're going to find digestive problems. You're going to find yourself not feeling good and energetic. Important. 2 hours. 2 hours of sleep before midnight is equal to 4 hours after midnight. Those 2 hours before midnight, that's the only time that cell repairs are taking place. Very, very important. It's very important to know that this 2 hours, repairs of the cell, and even my growth hormones, only time that they are secreted is in that 2 hours. It's also important to know that the 2 hours after midnight, that is the time where other very important hormones are secreted, like my adrenal hormones, where certain functions, like even cleaning up waste out of my cells, needs to be activated by that hormones secreted at that specific time. Very important that we sleep at those hours of the night. Here's something very important. 15 minutes of resting before lunch is equal to 2 hours of sleep. Well, we've got enough science to prove this. It's really so great. If you just go and rest, not after lunch, before lunch, go and rest for about 15 minutes. I found I could rest for 5 minutes, and it feel like I've slept for 2 hours. My energy back. That is really, you would find that so beneficial in your own life. Now, there's some other advantages of a good lifestyle that I want to just in short share with you, and I hope that you would have some great experiences while you go and practice this. We need to have a positive attitude towards life. And you know what? If you would live a healthy life, if you would follow the laws of health, if you would follow that, you're going to have a positive attitude to life. You also would find that you're going to have better looks. So the moment you change your lifestyle, it's not always about diet, people. We focus a lot on diet. That's just the end for New Start. There's exercise, there's water, there's sunshine, there's temperance, there's rest, there's trust. There is all these 8 principles. If I would follow that, I'm going to have better looks. I'm going to feel better. I'm going to have more energy. I'm going to have more vigor. I'm going to have better mental capacity and capabilities when I have a good lifestyle. It's really an advantage. People, I'm going to have a thrilling God awareness. This is really what I cherish the most. You know, the moment I slack on my principles in especially my diet and even my exercise program, even my relaxation on a daily basis, there's really something happening. There is a disconnection that takes place, and I can really not afford it. You know, I'm just a human being. I need to be connected to Him because I'm so weak. And the moment I get disconnected, I'm really in trouble. And so this is another advantage of having a good lifestyle. Now, I want to just share some things with you, if you're not feeling well, that you could do to really get over whatever is bugging. If you're not feeling well, you get up in the morning and you feel, okay, there's a little bit of yeah, uneasiness in the throat, and that little bit of a body ache, you know what I'm talking about. Well, the first thing that I would do is I would start drinking more water. And I found that I would boost water. I would just like every half an hour, take another glass or two of water. And that really kicks it very quickly. I also found that sunshine works well. So I would make sure if the time I don't feel well, it's very, very different from what some of us have been taught when we were children. That's the time when we don't feel well, that the curtains would be drawn, the house would be darkened, and that's when the soup comes out. That's why I didn't get sick too much, because I didn't like the dark room. I didn't like the soup. So I've just learned that it's something different. When I'm not feeling well, that's when I need sunshine. And that's where I will actually do some sunbathing, where I'll get some more exposure to sun. I'm not saying going for a tan. That's not what we're saying. It's just getting more sun exposure because of the vitamin D3 especially values. It's about killing germs. It's really working against inflammation. It's really the answer. If you're not feeling well, you need to listen to your body. Many times because of this appointment and this responsibility and that, our body says, I'm tired, I need to rest. And we just push it on. We said, no, we need to finish this task. I cannot go on leave now. I can't take sick leave now. I need to finish this project. My boss is going to fire me. The fact is, you might die and your boss don't even have to fire you. He's have to put somebody in your place because you're not going to be there. So we need to listen to your body. If your body says, whoa, you need to stop, you need to look at it. We need fresh air. People, we are recapping what we've said in the past. We're saying, guys, and we so quickly forget, we need to get fresh air on a daily basis. Open the windows. Breathe in. Breathe properly. Use that belly button. Keep it in there while you press in the air and force in the air. Don't lift your shoulders as you breathe. And then the resting thing. We've spoken about this many times. You need to rest. If you don't feel well, go and rest. Don't push yourself to go and do things that your body is now not wanting to do. You need to go and rest at this time. And then keep your limbs and your chest warm. Sometimes we have a jersey on and a jacket on, but our feet is cold. We need to have our limbs warm as well. That's the time you need to put on your gloves. That's the time that you would put on an extra pair of socks. You need to keep these limbs warm so that your circulation could work properly. Do not suppress a very high fever. Only control it. We very easily just go and put in a dispository, or we're going to, go in a cold bath or whatever to break a fever. Guys, fevers are our friends. Don't just break the fever. Monitor it, work with it, because it's killing the bugs. It's killing the viruses. Viruses and bacteria cannot survive in the higher heat conditions. And this is why your body is heating up. So work with your body in that case. And then something very important is eat less. When you're not feeling well, don't go for that big plates of food. Eat less. Eat nothing if you should. Just go on liquids at that time to give your body time to recover, to give your digestive system time to rest. And when you would eat again, it would actually take that nourishing nutrients and just go and use it wherever it needs to be used in a more powerful way than ever. And then, people, we need to, use, our natural remedies, as we shared with you. Use your hydrotherapy. Go for your contrast. If you're not feeling well, go for your contrast treatment. Go for the hot shower, and then hot, and then go into the cold shower. And hot, that will be 3 minutes. 1 minute, 3 minute, 1 minute, 3 minute hot, 1 minute cold, and end with a cold, and then just wrap yourself well, and then go and put some nice warm clothes on. You'll see your immune system will kick in very, very quickly. Now, lastly, but the most important thing is trust in God. Claim the promises for your needs. Claim your promises for your needs. You see, Isaiah 57 verse 18 says, and this is really encouraging to me as I share this with you tonight. And I have to look at my own case, and I have to look at my own messy mistakes that I've made. The verse says, the Bible says, the Lord says, I have seen your ways. I've looked at you. You know, I'm not blind. I can see what you've been doing. You know, sometimes we do things, in the secret. Nobody knows. But you know what? He sees it. He says, I've seen your ways. I've seen how you messed up. I've seen how you broke the health laws that I gave you to protect you from disease. I've seen how you've disregarded the true remedies that I've given so that you can recover. I've seen it. But in spite of your ignorance, in spite of what you've done, in spite of your wrong decisions, I will heal you. People, I want you to know, it's only God that can make a positive statement like this. I mean, humanly speaking, we say, you've made your bed, sleep on it. I mean, if you want to stay up at night and not go and sleep, and now you get a flu, well, you've made your bed, go and sleep on it. But God says, I've seen what you've done, but I will heal you. And this really gives me courage. I mean, I've made so many mistakes. I nearly died of cancer because of the wrong choices I've made. I've lived my way the way I wanted to live it. I said to people when they sort of warned me about certain things, I would say, it's my body. I can do with it what I want to. And it's only late in my life that I discovered, well, it's not my body. The Lord has paid for this body, and He's paid a ransom that we could not measure in monetary value. And the Lord says, in spite of those messy things that you've done, in spite of your ignorance and your arrogance, where you say, I can do what I want to, I will still heal you. I will still heal you. And so it doesn't matter what you've done. It doesn't matter what you've done in the past, what mistakes you've made. God promises today, He says, I will heal you. I will also lead you and restore your comforts to you. So I've seen what you've done. I've seen the messes you've made. I will heal you. I will restore you. I will lead you. I will show you the way. And I believe what I'm sharing with you and what I've shared with you so far and what we will share with you as we go on in this series is God saying to us, I will lead you. I want to show you healing power, my way, God's way. And so may God help us to restore our comforts and to have full health and full recovery of whatever you are compromised with. And I pray this out of the depth of my heart. I want to do a prayer with you, and I want to especially say tonight at this session, I want to say especially at this session that God loves you. He wants you to live abundance of life. Abundantly. Let's pray. Gracious Father in heaven, in the smallest, minute details, you've given us everything we need to live abundant lives, to have vigor and to have endurance and to have power of intellect. And Lord, sometimes because of our ignorance, sometimes because of our arrogance, we just settle for second best. And I pray that you would speak to our hearts right now, whoever looks at this presentation, that you would now speak to their hearts and help them to make a good decision saying, I want to change. If I see a challenge in my system, I'm going to make a change because this is your temple. It doesn't belong to me, Lord. And I want to just host you in a perfect dwelling place. And so, please, Lord, I pray that you would help us. Give us the wisdom. Give us the endurance. Give us the understanding of what you want to teach us. And help us to stick to the plans that you've given to prevent us from getting diseased. Help us to look at those natural laws. I pray that you would help those to diligently use the true remedies so that they would recover from whatever weakness, whatever disease they might be suffering from. Thank you that you are the healer God. Thank you that you will heal your people today. I pray this and I thank you in Jesus' name. Amen.